In today's video, I show you the Dvergrhold campaign on My Mini Factory Frontiers. But before we get into today's video, I want to give a quick shout out to all of my lovely Patreon supporters. You guys are so awesome. I love you so much and you make this channel what it is. And I just want to announce this past month's GGGGs. Each month, Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts. For this past month of November of 2024, Nathan M. was chosen to receive the Ravaged Lands Shattered Storm Vault terrain box. North is receiving the $100 to go towards either her choice of the Rivenvale or the Lands of Evershade campaign that is currently on GameFound. And for this month of December of 2025, we already have some gratitude gifts lined up for the month. 5 people will be chosen by Bob to receive the Dark Ages Medieval Part 2 medium-sized building. And also 2 people are going to be receiving pledges for this campaign that is going on right now. Go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page if you want to find out more information on how you can get in on the chance to receive one of these gratitude gifts. And we'll be populating the list as the month goes along. Remember, it only takes $1 to become one of my Patreon supporters. So Steve from Corvus Gaming Terrain reached out to me, and if you haven't seen my video for the Tycho Starport, go ahead and check it out here. That was one of his previous campaigns where I printed out a bunch of it and I used it for Dead Zone. And similarly, he has come out with terrain that actually can work with Tycho Starport and some of his other previous campaigns that have come out since then. Not only can you use it for Dead Zone, but as you can see here, I have my kill teams out with my Orc Commandos fighting my Novitiates. And one of the things that I really asked Steve was to make sure that there were ruined sections and ruined buildings, because for a game like Kill Team or for one-page rules Firefight, having ruins is really, really important because you can duck behind cover, you can climb up onto buildings and have line of sight from above. So all that is really important. So I'm glad that he did provide ruined versions of this, which I really appreciate a lot. I do want to say that there's a couple of pieces on here that I modified or that I used from Tycho Starport. So for example, this dish is actually from Tycho Starport, along with some of the staircases. I just printed them out and I painted them the color scheme of the Dvergrhold set. So just keep that in mind. And we will be going over to the computer where I will be walking you through the campaign, and you will be able to add on some of the previous campaigns if you wanted extra files. Also, really quickly at the end of this video, I do have a painting tutorial. So stick around if you want to see how I painted up this set with this color scheme. Even though his buildings are based off of Dead Zone's 3" by 3" cube system, obviously you can use it for any kind of gaming terrain or any kind of gaming system. As you can see here, I do have it set up for Kill Team, but you can create a lot of terrain that will cover even a 4x6 board pretty easily. I mean, look at how much terrain I was able to print up here and paint up relatively quickly. And because they stack and they're modular, you can have a ton of different configurations. You can pile this up to be really high if you want. You've got this awesome drill platform that is here as part of the options. And then I just love these bridges that you can connect some of the buildings and have extra height. That's a key feature that I really like when I play the games where having height gives you an advantage of shooting down on your enemies. So this is a really versatile system where by making it modular, you can configure it the way that you want. And then now with all of the damage pieces, that also adds even more variability to how you want to place terrain across the board. Also, one of the things that I really appreciate are there are a lot of models like this where you can actually get line of sight through it. Sometimes with the solid buildings, I don't like that it's just blocking line of sight from really far away. So having buildings where you actually can see through it and get a bead on someone on the other side of the building, I think is really a feature that I like from this set. And even though it is themed for space dwarves, obviously I don't think you could totally tell just by glancing at it, but it sort of does motivate me to potentially print out a squat force in order to be able to play. But as you can see here with my current units on there, it works with any faction. All of the pieces do print without supports, which is great. And they're relatively thin, so it doesn't use up a ton of filament to print these pieces out. All of the roofs you print separately and then you put right on top. And again, I did test this with the Tycho Starport files, and all of it does work together. So if you have that previous set, you can totally combine it with this set. All of it dimensionally is going to be able to fit and stack on top of each other, so that's not going to be a problem at all. But here's the really exciting thing that I want to talk to you about. And when Steve first reached out to me, I did request making sure that there were ruined pieces, but I also informed him that Mantic had come out with a brand new skirmish game using the Dead Zone grid system, and that is Halo Flashpoint. So let me go ahead and set up the board and show you that. Alright, so check it out. Now, Halo Flashpoint does come with some pretty cool terrain, this cardboard terrain, so you don't have to paint up any terrain at all. But as you can see here, the 3D printed versions are a lot better. So just to give you an example, here's this cross terrain piece. Again, perfectly fine, works normally, but look at how much better this one looks, this 3D printed one. And then here are some of the buildings. Here's a 1 cube building here with the rail at the top. This just looks a lot better here in comparison, but like I said, it fits on the 3" by 3" grid. And then you have this building back here. I'm not 100% sure if this counts as cover terrain. I haven't played the game yet, so not 100% sure, but if they don't, you can just remove these right off like that if there is no cover that is provided with these little edges. All the doors are removable as well, so they are sliding doors. I'll give you an example here. You can take the roof off and just slide these doors up. But you're getting these two cardboard 2x1s, and so here's an example of what you can print. There's a ton of other varieties as well. And then this piece, I'm using this over here, or you can use this. But there's just a lot more variety. As well, check this out, this piece here. I think Steve did a great job interpreting that, but all of the dimensions, I sent it over to him and he matched it pretty much the exact size. So even these chests, they are pretty much the exact same size as these cardboard ones. And then check out these barriers. I think these look so much cooler. I went ahead and painted them, these 3 different colors that came with the set, but they just look so much better 3D printed. And then check this out. This is the bridge that you're using. Look at how much better this is. And if for whatever reason you don't want to give cover bonus, just ignore these walls, pretend they're not there. But overall, I think Steve did a great job interpreting all of the pieces so that you can absolutely use this set for Dead Zone. Not only that, but you get so much more variety, because check it out. You've got the 4x4 buildings back there. You can stack all of these as you want. You can just have a lot more on the game board than what you see here. Obviously, you have the scatter train. You've got that hauler. You've got the conveyor belt for the mine. You've got the drill. Although the drill obviously won't fit exactly on the cubes, but that can be a point of contesting on the board. And then, I mean, just check these out. You can stick these pieces from the Tycho Starport or some of the previous ones if you want to go different thematically. So just looks so awesome. I'm going to go ahead and build out an example of how cool this can look. So check it out. This is just a quick setup, sample setup of what you can do, either playing Dead Zone or Halo or any other game that you want to play. I could definitely use this board for one-page rules firefight. That would be perfectly fine with this set. But look how much more options you have, and if you just need another block, you can go ahead, print it out, paint it up really quickly, and have an awesome board like you see here. So just a ton of versatility. Obviously, if you have a 3D printer, this is going to be an awesome option for you. Like I said before, the included cardboard terrain in the Halo set is perfectly usable, looks pretty cool, makes it so that you can jump right in and play the game without worrying about painting. But if you are a hobbyist like I am and many of my viewers are, you're going to want to create more terrain, you're going to want to create more versatility, you're going to want to increase the map size. A couple of times I've played Dead Zone with 2-on-2 with 4 different armies, so you can definitely do that with Halo and have a bigger map. So this just works out super well, I think, for this game as well as so many others. So this is an awesome set. Now let's go ahead and go over to the computer where I'm going to show you and walk you through the campaign. Go ahead and use the link below to go to this My Mini Factory page where the campaign is going on right now. Just launched today. It has raised $880. So let's see how much it can raise over time. So here we're going to see basically a bunch of details, and we're going to see his paint scheme for all the different configurations and models that he has come up with. And he has his own miniatures that are beside it. And again, just a ton of versatility that you're going to find. There's only one tier, really. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Early bird tier right now is 40 USD. I'm not 100% sure how long the early bird is going to last, but whenever that is finished, it's only $5 more. I think it's well worth it to get all of these files. If you're a merchant, it's going to cost $160. If you do want to get some of the previous sets, here's a Tycho Starport all-in, that's $65. You are getting hundreds of files. So if you really want to expand what you have, this is going to do it for you. Just a ton of stuff going on there. Again, watch my video if you want to see some of the details of all the different files that you're going to get. Since then, he's had 2 other campaigns. One is the Magna Fortuna core set. And this is more unique because there's infected sort of aliens kind of stuff all over the building. So if that's a theme that you want, you can grab that one. And then you have the core lab set, which is the uninfected version. So feel free to grab any of those, although if you do get the Tycho Starport all-in, you're going to get more files than you will ever need, I guarantee it. But I did grab, like I said, the satellite dish as well as the steps from this, so take that for what you will. Go back to the campaign, and this is showing all of the different sizes. Here are the quad buildings. And then here's the ruin building. Again, I think he's going to create another folder with all the ways that I modded some of these so that it would fit my needs, especially for smaller skirmishes. Here's the large drilling platform. I did modify one of these files because you can't really see the drill bit when it's this far down, so you can't really tell. So I modified it that it's shorter so that you can actually see the drill bit down here. Again, that's going to be in the modded section. I realized after I saw this photo that I glued the wheels backwards. I actually put the small wheel in the front, but I think it looks fine anyway. But that's fun that you can get that mining tug vehicle. Here are some of the unlocks. You're going to get the pipes, which I think is really handy as scatter terrain. You're going to also get the mining conveyor belt that you saw, as well as the fuel tanks. You have ladders and walkways, extra door types, roofs. You have buttress cubes, free miniature bases, a bell tower, more mining vehicles, and then mining forges as well. And that's going to be at 10,000 US. So let's see how much this raises. I feel like with My Mini Factory, you might not get quite as much eyes on it as you would Kickstarter. So I'm curious to compare this to Tycho Starport, which raised quite a bit of money. So let's see, and let's provide support for Steve as he is pushing this out on Frontiers instead of Kickstarter. So this is an example of all of the different files that you're going to be receiving. I do like these pipes that are coming out of the building. I think that just gives it a lot of variety. Here we have the quad buildings, again the ruins, and then we have a bunch of different roof options that you can have, which is really fun just to be able to mix it up. This is the roof barriers. He did come out with a quad version that there are 4 all the way around. Maybe that's going to be in the stretch goal. Here's the mining tug, and then the large drilling platform. He has partnered with Table Hammer to be able to provide this for free. If you have a resin printer, you can definitely print one of these guys out to get started on your squats army. And this is from Treadhead Red. You get another figure as well if you want. Here are more examples of what it can look like and different ways to configure it. I mean, it's just a ton of terrain. You can fill out an entire board. It's more than enough to fill an entire gaming board. Here he's using it for Grimdark Future Firefight, which is one-page rules skirmish game. This is from Warboss Fitz, which I love watching his videos because he does a bunch of one-page rules kinds of stuff. Dead Zone, the podcast. These are the guys that I interviewed in one of my previous videos. And then here are pictures of my build. And then eventually my video will come out here once I post. So there you go. Hopefully this video is helpful for you. Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, as I will be coming out with more review videos of not only 3D printed terrain, but also future games. Please use the link below to go to my Patreon page, where you might get a chance of being chosen by Bob at the end of this month for one of the pledges for this terrain. Go ahead and stick around if you want to check out the painting tutorial. Otherwise, happy printing, happy gaming. We'll see you next time. All right, so first thing is I spray everything with this flat red primer, sort of like a rusty brownish red color. So any flat red primer will work. And I basically, as you can see here, spray all the parts, everything except for the underside where no one can see. Just give it a good coat of red. And you can see here there's a couple of spots that are still black. I print in black PLA. That's perfectly fine, doesn't matter as long as you get some good coverage. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I got Stormy from Americana. It's sort of like this medium blue that has a little bit of gray in it, but you can pick whatever color that you want. Put a bunch there. And then I have this stiff hog's hair brush. This is what I use to paint 90% of my terrain. I keep it dry because it's a little bit of like dry brushing, because what I'm going for is trying to maintain some of the rusty red underneath in the cracks and crevices. So I'm really not trying to cover everything. And also what I'm doing is I want there to be a little bit of a fade where towards the bottom I'm going to keep it this rusty red color. And that sort of gives it the look that the dirt around the area that it's in is sort of this reddish color, and it just gives a little bit of gradation. So this is sort of what I'm looking for here. And just notice, like up here, there's a lot of spots that are still maintaining the rusty red color, and that's fine. You can sort of, based off of what you're looking for, fill in more or less with the color, but I'm putting in a pretty solid color of blue across the top with this gradual fade towards the bottom. So do this to all of the sides. I actually don't paint the inside, but you can opt to paint the inside if you want. That's what you're going for. So for these ones that have like this cross beams, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently, just to differentiate and have different colors on there. And I'm going to just put the blue everywhere except for these cross beams. I'm still doing the fade down here, like so, towards the bottom. And then see, notice how I got some here. It doesn't matter because I'm going to cover over it with the orange, which is the complementary color that I'm going to be using. So that's basically what we're looking for. Alright, so with the highlighting, I'm using Gray Sky, and for whatever reason I can't find this color anymore. I think Americana changes up their colors every once in a while, which sort of drives me crazy. But I did find an alternative with Folk Art. You can buy this pale gray right now, and it's the same color, or at least it's close enough. It's basically a pretty light gray color, almost an off-white gray. So that's the color that you're going for. I'm using a smaller brush here, and again, this is seriously dry brushing, so you don't want a lot on your brush, and you're only hitting up the edges. And again, notice I'm not coming down here at the bottom, but mostly hitting the top parts up here. Like so. You definitely don't want a lot of this. And that's pretty much good enough. Check it out here. Look at how that looks. And then on this, be a little bit lighter. And notice how I'm dragging down so that I'm only hitting the top edges, like so. Yeah, that's it. So do that with all the blue. Now we're going to go ahead and grab some Canyon Orange. Go back to using the big brush. I'll let that dry and maybe do a second coat, depending on how bright I want the orange. Go ahead, do the sides too. And then you also want to do all of the doors, this orange. I'm going to be taking Marigold, and I changed my mind. I think there's just too much orange, so I'm going to change the door colors to yellow in addition to a couple of other pieces. Okay, I think that looks better, and you can take advantage of the fact that I already did orange by fading, having more of a subtle fade. I'm also going to hit up this emblem right here with the yellow. If I can manage to not get it everywhere. Yeah, that's good enough. Alright, so I'm grabbing some forest green, which is a dark green. This is a really light olive green called celery green, but almost any light green will work. And like before, you want your brush to be really dry. You're just doing a quick one over and just hitting the edges. See how quickly, just by dry brushing, you're doing edge highlighting on these? So just a super quick and easy way to do this method. Alright, I'm just grabbing some black. This is functioning as the undertone for the silver. So whatever's going to be silver, I'm putting this undertone of black. Now the reason why you could just spray paint all of the metal parts black, but I still want some of the rusty color because that's gonna represent the dust that's all over the place. Because remember, with dwarves, this is a mining colony, so there's gonna be just dust and equipment everywhere, and that's why I still want some remnants of the rusty color or the earth color, whatever the dirt is on this planet, to actually be in some of the cracks and crevices, just like that. Also, one of the things you want to do with the black is to edge all of the ruined pieces, because that's sort of where the blast zone took out these edges on the building. So wherever you have damage is where you want to shade in some black so that it looks charred. Like so. You also want to do these pipes on the side of the buildings. Alright, so I'm grabbing some silver, and this specifically is Deco Art Extreme Sheen Tin. It's not the brightest silver, it's sort of like a medium silver, because I don't like super bright. It doesn't look quite as natural. So just grab whichever silver that you want. And then here I'm starting off with a conveyor belt, and I'm just hitting up the sides because I want the conveyor belt to remain black, with again just the rust dusting on the main part of the conveyor belt, because that would be on there. So this is sort of what it looks like, still maintaining the rust towards the bottom, just like that. So in essence, you want to go back over all of the parts that you painted black earlier and just dry brush the silver on top. And I'm keeping this portion down here black, just for a little bit of variety. I thought about doing these this section and this section sort of in yellow or orange, a different color, just to change it up a little bit, but I don't have time to do that, so I'm just gonna do this all silver instead.